Amber Heard. She is being sued. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Amber Heard is fancying some more court action. Although, where she counterclaimed against Johnny Depp, so far she hasn't done so in the latest filing against her. More of that in a moment. Many narcissists are notoriously litigious. Why is this? Well, quite simply, it provides an opportunity for the narcissist to assert control over people by using the law. Furthermore, where a narcissist is on the receiving end of a legal claim, it provides the narcissist with a platform by which to nullify that threat to control, to draw fuel. And of course, rather than try and settle the matter amicably at an early juncture, many narcissists will not do so because their narcissism will not let them do so, because of their altered reality through which they see matters. Many narcissists also find themselves in a court situation to begin with. Why? Again, driven by their narcissism. The narcissism causes the narcissist to act with a sense of entitlement, a failure to be accountable for behaviours, an absence of emotional empathy for other people affected by those behaviours, a failure to abide by boundaries. And, of course, the narcissist utilises various behaviours as a form of manipulation, many of which could be criminal in nature. For instance, stealing, physically assaulting somebody, defaming an individual, breaching a contract, not allowing somebody to see their children, seeking a divorce, hiding money from a spouse, which ought to be provided as community property, and so on and so forth. So a narcissist may well engage in many behaviours driven by their narcissism, which causes them to break the law in some form. Whether it's criminal or civil law, that is what happens. And then the injured party goes to the law to enforce their rights. And, of course, that is a threat to the narcissist's control. So the narcissist, rather than roll over and go, mea culpa, I'm bang to rights, governor, they fight it because their narcissism will not allow them to accept the threat to control that is posed by the legal proceedings that have been brought, whether it's the government or the state that is bringing those proceedings, for instance, alleging that the narcissist has driven whilst under the influence of alcohol or is involved in a physical assault upon somebody else, or whether it's a private claim that's brought by a failure, for instance, to deliver up property, a failure to abide by childcare arrangements, trespassing, cutting down a tree that doesn't belong to the narcissist, and so on and so forth. Accordingly, narcissists end up being brought into litigious circumstances because of their own behaviour, often use litigation as a means to assert control, to try and compel somebody to give them that control, to provide fuel, and of course a residual benefit, which might be money. And of course, the litigation itself is invariably toxic, fractious, and hard work because you're dealing with somebody who is looking at it from a different perspective. And I've explained elsewhere how this altered perspective results in litigation continuing, whereas if you had two non-narcissists, it's invariably resolved at a much earlier stage. Indeed, where two non-narcissists are involved, neither of whom needs control over the other, they invariably sort out the matter without it getting anywhere near the doors of the court. Indeed, without necessarily even going anywhere near lawyers in the beginning. But throw a narcissist into the mix, and that need for control and for fuel, character traits and residual benefits, through the altered perspective of the narcissist, causes the narcissist to behave in a particularly litigious manner, seeking continuances and adjournments, not providing documentation when they should do, not providing full disclosure, not behaving in a way which allows the case to be moved forward, or where it's their claim, moving forward at a hell of a pace in order to try and batter the opponent into submission. So behind a lot of litigation, particularly protracted, vicious, toxic litigation, you'll find there's a narcissist involved. If you want to understand more about that, listen to my video, Why is Divorce So Hard? Thus, it's no surprise, of course, having established what Amber Heard is, that she has been involved in litigation. But she finds herself involved in yet more, because Insurance company sues Amber Heard to keep from paying for Johnny Depp judgment and legal fees, according to an article by Annette Levy. An insurance company is suing actress Amber Heard on a three-pronged request. 1. That it be absolved of any duty to pay for her defence in a recent defamation case by her ex-husband Johnny Depp. 2. That it not be required to pay the multi-million-dollar judgment Depp won against her. And 3. That it not have to pay any costs of ongoing litigation associated with an appeal. The New York Marine and General Insurance Company filed the suit against Heard on Friday in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. New York Marine insured Heard from July 18, 2018 through July 18, 2019, a crucial time period for the defamation case. That time period includes the date Heard wrote and retweeted a now infamous Washington Post op-ed, a piece in which she claimed she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. The headline discussed Heard speaking up against sexual violence and facing our culture's wrath. The period of time New York Marine insured Heard also includes the March 1st, 2019 filing date of Depp's defamation lawsuit. The suit was filed in Fairfax County, Virginia, because computer servers for the Washington Post are located there, and because the paper's printing plant is located in Springfield, Virginia. The insurance company's suit claims Heard was covered by a $1 million insurance policy from July 2018 through July 2019. In the complaint, New York Marine notes that California insurance law provides that although an insurance company may be liable for an insured party's negligence, an insurer is not liable for a loss caused by the willful act of the insured. This, of course, is quite standard. For instance, there is the apocryphal anecdote about the individual that insures some very expensive cigars for a large sum of money, and then he smokes them, enjoying them, and then puts in a claim on the basis that they have been burnt and claims for fire damage. Of course, that was a willful act, and therefore the insurance would not be applicable. New York Marine argues that since Heard was found by a Virginia jury to have acted with actual malice, in other words, willfully, when defaming Depp, the company should not have to indemnify Heard. So not only does she face the fact that she's been defeated by Depp in court, Heard now faces the problem that the insurance company that was propping up the fact that was paying her attorneys and might well have paid some or all of the damages is saying, we're not going to do so. You basically brought this on yourself. And of course, this goes back to what I often tell you about the narcissist, that if you give the narcissist enough rope, those chickens come home to roost. And it has here. Of course, it's not necessarily the case that New York Marine's claim will naturally succeed, but it's another threat to control for Amber Heard. She loses against Depp, threat to control. That's reported on around the world, which causes a variety of threats to control through challenge fuel and wounding. And then, even if she thinks, well, how on earth am I going to pay this, and how am I going to pay my attorneys, who no doubt are saying, when are you going to pay us, which again are threats to control, she learns that the very outfit that she thought was going to see her covered is now saying, we ain't going to cover you. Another threat to control. And it's akin to people lining up and slapping her across the chops. The article continues. The suit also claims New York Marine accepted Heard's defence on October the 1st, 2019, through the law firm Cameron McAvoy, and had agreed to continue its coverage through that firm. However, New York Marine claims Cameron McAvoy withdrew from the case on November 2nd, 2020, at the advice of Heard or attorneys representing her. It suggests New York Marine did not approve of a concomitant change in counsel and therefore shouldn't have to pay for Heard's legal fees. On June 1st, a jury found that Heard defamed Depp via her op-ed. The jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. However, the judgment topped out at $10.35 million in sum total, since punitive damages are capped at $350,000 under Virginia law. The jury found Depp liable on one counterclaim of defamation associated with the statement made by his attorney, Adam Waldman, to the Daily Mail in April 2020. Depp has denied ever physically or sexually abusing Heard. Notably, Heard also had a homeowner's insurance policy through Travelers Insurance at the time she wrote the Washington Post op-ed. In fact, a representative from Travelers Insurance was in court during the defamation trial each day, seated in the gallery behind Heard. In a separate case, filed last year, Travelers Insurance sued New York Marine for what the former company called the latter's failure to meet its obligation to provide Heard with independent counsel and other counsel necessary to defend Heard. The result of that alleged failure, according to Travelers, was that the Travelers was unfairly forced to pay for its share of the defence. The judge in that case, which was also filed in the Central District of California, was asked to stay the proceedings for 65 days in May. So there'll be more legal wrangling ahead, and it remains to be seen which way this goes. But the woes continue for Amber Heard, and they ultimately translate through the lens of narcissism as a threat to control. And they keep coming thick and fast for her. But once again, because of the nature of the way that her narcissism works, it doesn't cause her to slip away and lick her wounds and think about doing other things. It causes her to feel like she is the victim. It causes her to dole out the pity plays and say, "Why is it always raining on me?" as Travis once sung. She believes that she is the eternal victim and that it's everybody else that is against her. The mindset of the narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.